Madrecki, who's from the Consumer Brands Association. So what about that? Let's talk about that first. So, you know, we have a lot of concern about tariffs. We saw it in today's stock trading, especially after the president's comments with about an hour to go in the trading session. But that story's also out there, that you threaten tariffs and you get, quote unquote, the desired result. What would you say?
Well, we represent America's largest domestic manufacturing sector by employment, so CPG industry. That's food, beverage, household, and personal care products, the folks that make the everyday essentials that you and I use every day. One of our concerns is that if the tariffs aren't implemented strategically to really understand what can or cannot be made here, we are sourcing from domestic agriculture sources. We're making things here in America, but inherently, you still need connectivity to the rest of the world. You still need an agricultural input that can only be grown in another country. And when that happens and tariffs go into effect, it's inevitable that costs have to go somewhere, and they will rise for consumers that are already concerned about inflation. They elected President Trump on an economic mandate to really restore some normalcy in the marketplace, and we're concerned about what the impact of those tariffs might have on U.S. manufacturers that we represent.
And the agricultural tariffs, it looks like, as well as other quote-unquote reciprocal tariffs, to use the president's term, supposed to go into effect on the 2nd of April. With these others, I'll bring it up from the tablet. We can put it up on the screen, going into effect tomorrow. So these numbers that we're going to see tomorrow, Canada, Mexico, 25% supposedly. And this was interesting, what he said about China here, 20%. Let me see if you agree with this about, you know, from the Tax Foundation. They say this is, with all of this, probably an $800 increase in taxes, effectively, a tariff being a tax, a more than 2% drop in after-tax income for Americans. Does that sound about right to you?
I mean, I think what's very clear is you look at across the whole landscape of tariffs and what the impact will be. President Trump, smart negotiator. His team, the best of the best. And when you look across how they can really unpack this in a way that protects consumers, there's a way to impose tariffs and to look at what's underway and how to negotiate the best deal possible for America in a way that still protects consumers.
How would that
and
be?
really
Like similar to what he did in his first term, a little bit, where we didn't see the worst of the worst?
I think it's all about I think it's all about creating leverage, and there's a way to really, I think, you know, you could hurt them and take action where it's going to hurt on other countries and drive some of those tough negotiating stances while still being sensitive to the real needs of U.S. manufacturers here at home, the agricultural inputs and the ingredients that they can only source from other places in the world, whether it's oats in Canada, whether it's avocados from Mexico, whether it's spices from around the world. There's a way to account for this that then really protects the voting public that, you know, elected Trump to address inflation.
We import a lot of avocados from Mexico, that's for sure. Now, we got a guy by the name of Bill Walsh on, investor last hour, who had this to say. Let's listen.
The expense it's going to have in the auto market for sure is going to be a killer for the U.S. So I'm believing they get to a deal. I think that so much of this is buy the rumor, sell the fact, right? That we know that this is going to be an expensive game to play, but it's also, I think, in some parts, if they're going to charge us to bring our products there, we've got to have something to bring it back.
So we do see some of that coming back already. I mentioned Honda as one example, and maybe there'll be, or have been others, and maybe there'll be others in the future. So then I think the question is, when you see more of that, does Trump back off a little bit, right? That was the rumor over the weekend that maybe he wouldn't go all in 25%. Now it looks like he might. So he might play around with this a little bit, and if you see more stories like that, maybe he backs off. I don't know.
Well, again, they're playing at a different level when it comes to negotiating. But I think what's our concern is, again, if you're already making things here in America, you're doing everything right, you're paying your workers more and more in the past 3 years, you're just trying to maintain the very slim margins that you already have, and you're trying to keep costs low for the consumer that's relying on these products. You have to have a way of working hand in hand with the administration and really trying to flesh out how to best go about this America First trade policy and keep everyone rowing in the same direction.
Have they been respectful? Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.